Hi there, this is Tom with Escape Artist, and I have the pleasure today of interviewing a absolutely fantastic expat. Her name is Macarena Rose, and she's in Belize. How are you doing today, Macarena?
I am wonderful. Happy day to you.
I see you're flying the Belize flag back there. Any story behind the Belize flag and what brought you to Belize?
Well, the whole story for me was I only went there to teach a class for 2 weeks. Then that was my first mistake because I had to go back. And then when I went back, nothing changed. I knew I had to move there. I don't believe in just wondering what if. You got to throw the hat over the wall and just do it.
That's great. So tell me, how long ago was this decision to move to Belize, and how long have you been there?
I've lived in Belize for 8 years, and the first time I ever went was 9 years ago.
Okay, great. And can you give us a little bit of background? I mean, it's a huge decision. I know a lot of people that make the expat move. It's funny. A lot of people think expat is a bad word. They associate it with something else, but it really just means somebody who's a foreigner living in another country, whether they're doing it for work, pleasure, or retirement. But tell me about when we're talking with people and writing articles, we're always trying to cover 4 things for people to help them with, and that's fear, family, finances, friends. And those seem to be the big ones of preventing people from realizing what we call the escape artist dream. Can you elaborate on those 4 F's and kind of what the thought process you went through when you made your decision to move?
That's a brilliant way to handle it for people, actually. The fear factor is something I don't necessarily believe in. I embrace a change, and I wanted to throw the hat over the wall, like I said. Now, I had concerns because I was moving with my 15-year-old daughter and my 14-year-old goddaughter and my best friend from high school and 10 animals. Oh. So I had to do some diligence, of course. And the biggest part for me, the reason Belize worked 180% was because it was English speaking. So I didn't have to teach anybody Spanish. And Spanish is my first language. But it wasn't for my kids, the kids traveling. The animals, it really didn't much matter. But the kids, because they were going to be doing schooling, needed to know that they could have a lateral move into school and also in the education system, but also for them to have your other F, friends. And so I'll touch on the friends part. In Belize, I have a whole nother family. It is the most brilliant thing that in one place, the expats and the locals all get along well together in where I live, San Ignacio, and they're my other family. They're my other friends. So I never expated from the United States because I didn't like the United States. I love the U.S. My family's here. My other kids are here. The thing is that I wanted something different, and I have no regrets for doing it because all of my family, my friends, and my kids have benefited from being able to see another country, which is different if you go and visit. But when you go and visit with somebody that lives there, you get a whole different scenario.
That's great.
So let's see. Financially, that's your other F, right? Financially?
That's right. That's a big one for most people. Okay. That's probably the biggest one that prevents people from doing it, yes.
Well, it's probably the biggest reason to make Belize a move. It was for me because the dollar was 2 to 1. When I put money in the bank, all of a sudden I had double. And on top of that, the cost of living is unbelievable in comparison. Because I had lots of teenagers in my house, my car insurance was $600 a month. When I moved to Belize, my car insurance is $312 a year. Now that's Belize, so we have to divide that in 2, and you can see for a little bit over $156 a year, I have car insurance.
So that's cheaper than $7,000, I take it.
It's much cheaper.
Yeah. Let me do the math. Where's my calculator? Hold on one second. I got to figure that one out.
It's right here in your brain.
Right.
So let's see. I did the fear and the friends and the financial. And what was the other one? Food?
Well, family is usually the one that goes, no, we don't want you to go.
I'm a foodie. Can you tell? I went to the food one. But, all right. So family, well, I moved with one of my children, and I also moved with my animals, which were my other family, and my children came to visit. They were all grown when I moved. So it was a great experience for them.
I know that education is a big deal. What are your options in Belize for education, say from, fifth grade up? There's a lot of people. I mean, moving with a family is a big deal. I've done it. And when you get there, you have some choices, but what are the choices in Belize like?
The choices in Belize are good. I actually found that my daughter's schooling, she moved into one grade that was about a little bit lower than where she might have needed to be. So the opportunity was to move her up the following year. I do suggest people to supplement, if there's some North American or European, wherever they're coming from, their history. Because in Belize they learn the Caribbean history, of course. And it's good to have a broad range of information. The thing that I do love about the schools very much in Belize is they're intimate. The children walk to and from school. The children go home for lunchtime. There's a lot of family and community in Belize, and I love that. When your children are happy, you're happy.
So there's no metal detectors or anything like that at the schools?
No. It's very interesting because you see the children walking, all around, and that's fabulous that they can just do that.
Yeah, I think that's slowly been lost. I know in the States, where we live out in the country, it just seems like you just drive everywhere now and people just don't walk. It's like they're doing away with sidewalks. It's kind of odd, but, tell me about you've moved there, obviously. What are the steps that somebody goes through from the time they're in the States or whatever country they're moving from? What are probably the top three most important things for them to consider before they make the move? What would you do?
Okay, this is one of my favorite things to tell people. The very first thing I tell people is, do not leave your brain at the border. Because you're going to a different country, and it seems like it's touristy and fun and vacation-y. You don't leave your brain at the border. And I recommend that to people as the first sentence for them to remember and make their mantra. And for that reason, it will keep them from making quick decisions about buying property, quick decisions of where to live, quick decisions of what move to make and how. So when we're doing I do relocation work with people and consultation, and what we do is we talk about their circumstance and help them and guide them figure out what works for them. So that's the first thing. Don't leave the brain at the border.
Right.
The second thing is we're emotional people. Make a practical decision that works for you. When I moved to Belize, I made a commitment contractually with my daughter, who was 15, that we would go for 18 months. We weren't going to move and just come back home because maybe the streets were dirty and, bouncy, and I don't mean dirty, I mean like bouncy and rough and tough, because they are.
Right.
And that there wasn't an AC in every building, and that every child didn't have a cell phone, and I didn't want my daughter to just go, I want to go home. So we made an agreement to stick in there, and with that, my daughter was there 10 days in Belize, and said, I'm not going home. I love Belize.
That's great.
So don't just come from emotions. Make a practical decision and make a plan, because when you make a plan, you plan to succeed.
Yeah, no, okay, great. And as far as relocation and real estate options, what do you recommend somebody buys the minute they get there? What would the recommendation be for somebody that's thinking about making this transaction? And I have one other question. Did you leave stuff behind in the States for that 18 months and then ship more stuff over later?
No. I throw my hat over the wall, and I'm fully committed when I decide I'm going to do something. So I sold the home in Florida. We moved to Belize, and what we decided was that we were going to rent until we decided such a time that we would want to buy and stay, which didn't take long. So when I'm doing relocation work with people or just having a consult on the phone, I tell them, you do not have to buy. Yes, I'm a realtor. But you don't have to buy. You can come and you can rent, and you can see what area works best for you. And then you will have the opportunity to see a place that fits everything that you want, price-wise and location, and in the right area.
Okay, great. Let's talk about price. What can people expect in Belize, per square foot, or, and I know it's all across the board, but for a good quality American style house, with the amenities of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, what type of prices are you seeing in Belize?
Well, I guess my best frame of reference would be, I was just on House Hunters, HGTV show, the House Hunters International, and a great example would be this home that is in Maya Vista in San Ignacio, and it's sold for $130,000, and it's a 3-bedroom home. Not bad. And it's in the most exclusive area of San Ignacio. So basically, if you want to get a home that is used to or comparable to what you come from and you're living well, you're going to want to spend about $130,000 to upwards of $200,000. There are homes that are less. We have a home, for example, $50,000. That's a 2-bedroom home and brand new. So there's lots of options. You can also build. And I recommend people building in Belize if they're looking to retire and they don't want to rent their home out until they move. And if they're not ready to make that retirement plan, for like a year, a lot of people are doing their plan B. They're getting ready to retire in 18 months or 2 years. So I try and talk them into buying something so we can rent it. We don't have enough rentals. We need lots of rentals here. And so therefore they have an income. Or they can, again, go back to what I was talking about building. You want to spend around $75 a square foot to $100, that's US dollars, in considering your building, because you want it built right. Now, you can get homes for less than that. I don't recommend them because I know how they're built. I like people to build right.
Right.
I always believe you have one chance to do it right. Why do you want to play around?
Yeah. And they have titled property? I mean, we could go into a whole nother interview on real estate, but I just think of all the questions people typically ask me when they're looking at moving to a country. I mean, healthcare, we've kind of covered insurance, but healthcare would be something I'd like you to touch on. And just, is it titled real estate? Just the basic questions that I'm sure that you always get. What would be the rundown of the top 5 questions that you get and the quick answers for our readers?
All right. As an expat or an expatriate person from another country, you can buy property in Belize and have complete title. And it is legal certified title like we're used to in the North Americas, which is good to know. You just have to do the process correctly, and that is the important part because it's worth doing the diligence in the beginning. Secondly, I guess my top second question is health care. And the reason that's important is many people are coming with their children, their elderly parents, and themselves as being retired. And I was pleased to find out in Belize that when I moved, we had good health care, and yet it's gotten better every single year. We now have people that can have heart surgery in the country. We have CAT scans and MRIs now. I have a dear friend of mine, Father Joe, that needed a blood transfusion, and he was from New Jersey. Right. And we were able to get him a blood transfusion while he was in Belize. So who would have thunk that, Belize has all these wonderful things medically. In San Ignacio, we have a brand new hospital that's gorgeous. So in Belize City, they have Belize Medical Associates. So healthcare is good in Belize. My favorite is Dr. Sanchez in San Ignacio because it's like $30. I'm in, I'm out. Yes, I just gave him a plug. He's worth it. He's Cuban doctor, fabulously trained. That's great.
Yeah, Cuban doctors are wonderful.
He literally saved. Oh yeah, but he literally saved my life. So there's with good case there. I had a reaction to a B12 pill of all things.
Yeah, really?
A vitamin. But if I had waited to maybe go to the hospital or waited to go to, an emergency room and be seen in the United States, I probably wouldn't be around here to talk to you today. Instead, I called him at 7:00 at night on his cell phone at his house. In 10 minutes, we met at his office. He treated me. Boom. Here I am.
Right. Yeah, I remember having a CAT scan in Panama. I think it was like $175. Are you familiar with what the cost of CAT scans in Belize are? And I tell people that.
They're even cheaper than that, and maybe they're all going to come in now for their CAT scans. I had a friend of ours that got hurt that came. I used to coach the professional men's soccer team in Belize, and he came to the office and needed an X-ray. I ran him up the street to La Lumaluz Hospital to get the X-ray, and it was $15. I was like, here we go. So again, that's Belize. So that's $750 US. So, I paid for his X-ray.
That's great. So I understand they really had to twist your arm to be the head coach of the men's soccer team, right?
Oh yeah, they did. I was already the team medic, and the coach ended up moving, so I had to step in real quick in the middle of the season. Was that entertaining in a men's country like Belize, coaching the soccer team?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a whole story about that. We'll have to cover that in another interview. So that's great. So I know that you have a profile on the new Escape Dates social and business networking community. And you've listed some properties there. What is your, is it Belize Lady I remember seeing on there?
It is, tell what you are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I have to tell you, I wasn't, looking, I was thinking Escape Dates, a dating site, and not my bag of tea to be dating, because I'm already connected, which is wonderful. But the thing is that I was like, wow, there's people on there that are doing networking business-wise.
Yes.
And, our friends, it's like Facebook and all these other social media things, they're also people that are, just friends engaging. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. So I set up my profile and I put the pictures on there and I put some properties on there, and I haven't even put everything on there. I got other ideas that I want to play with. But I have to tell you, the first day I put up stuff and listings, I had people friending me, and I had other, people looking to, escape from wherever they're living, hence Escape Dates. What a brilliant name. And having questions about not just Belize, but about Central America or about other things and expatriation and how was it for me as a mother and animals and all of these good things. And I was amazed. It was fabulous. So I could really engage with people and help them. So I thought it was fantastic. A great networking opportunity, and it's so much fun because it's already people looking for something different.
Right.
If that makes sense. They're looking for people that are already committed to something different. So like-minded.
Well, I think that's the big thing is the community is of like-minded people. It's not just people promoting bar parties and stuff like that. It's people looking for answers around the world for better quality of life. And as we say, Escape Dates, it's not just for singles. So yeah, there are a lot of business profiles on there, but I think it's going to be a great community for all the expatriates around the world. So, and we're growing by about 20 members a day right now, which is real exciting. So. We haven't even announced.
I'm excited.
Yeah, no, well, I appreciate you participating in that.
I giggle because it's already in the stage, and it's just been fabulous.
Yeah.
And the emails from people, I love it.
Yeah,
it's nice to know that I'm not alone. There's people wanting to escape and do their own thing too.
Well, here's your opportunity. We're closing on here about 35 minutes, and I'd like to wrap this interview up. But here's the opportunity. This interview will be seen by tens of thousands of people around the world, and I guess your invitation to Belize is on the table. And why don't you just kind of tell the readers, a little bit about Belize and anything you want to close with.
Okay. The main thing about Belize is it is accessible from the United States, very easy. And if you're coming from Europe, very easy from Cancun. It's English speaking. That's the biggest point. You don't have to learn a language. If English is not your first language or your second language in Belize, it can be your home. And if you want any more information, you can contact me. Feel free to. I'm very good on emails. And if you're patient, I might be a day or two behind. And glad to help you, though.
What is your website address? What's your website address for your realty?
I was going to say, don't just think about it. You also have to do it.
Right, exactly.
My website is either macarenarose.com or rainforestrealty.net.
We have to mention that the Macarena stands for Mother of God. That's why we have AKA MOG up there. So you're speaking straight to the source, and it's always a pleasure, Macarena. We thank you for your time, and hope to have you on future interviews.
Have a happy day. Enjoy the rest of it.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.